All right, the NBA season. It's coming up, man. Training camp's getting going. The podcast is starting to load up again. We're getting real excited about the start of the year. We even, and this is going to play in here a little bit more, we even have our first Kawhi injury update of the season. And again, you can see behind me with the thing there. I get thrown off. But there, that guy. We love Kawhi around these parts. But also, who didn't see that coming, right? So, we know the season now is in full gear with that injury issue. So today, looking at the coaches who are on the hot seat in the NBA. Coming in at 5, it is Taylor Jenkins out in Memphis. Last year was, the last couple of years have been difficult to maneuver out in Memphis. And now everything is supposed to be coming together, right? They traded for Marcus Smart. You have Ja Morant. He is coming back and fully healthy and ready to go. You draft a very large Canadian, and all of a sudden that this team has the expectation that they are going to go out and really contend in the West. And while I do believe that is a thing that's going to happen, if it doesn't, probably going to fall on the coach. Right? And so now this is the year where it has to get going. And so if they start at like 22 and 27 or something like that, and it's not going, I think there's a very opportunity that's like, all right, well, that guy, you're out of here. Let's see if we can get a spark and get this thing rolling. And so I think the pressure that is on Memphis kind of falls on him. Same thing for our next one, Willie Green for the New Orleans Pelicans. There's obviously some built-in excuses. The Brandon Ingram situation is just awkward. The Zion Williams situation is ever fluid, given the injury situation that he constantly has. But when he is on, still one of the most dominant pieces in the National Basketball Association ever. And so there is, I think, obviously cause for concern and a few outs, but also a lot of reason to be optimistic about this team. And they make a big trade to go out and get Murray. And so when you do that, it is, and you have a young superstar, it is now time to go. It is no longer, we battled really hard at, first round of the playoffs, but we ran into Oklahoma City, what are you going to do? No more of that. This is now a team that needs to really get going here in the West. And if they don't, I think it probably falls on the coach. At 3, Mike Brown in Sacramento. Part of this is Sacramento is a very poorly run franchise. And while I do think that if this thing goes sideways this year, blaming the coach probably wouldn't be accurate. But I do also think that Sacramento kind of does that. But again, they have now had the surprise everyone year. They have had we kind of came back down to earth, but we are still a pretty good team. Now we sign a superstar adjacent player, at least in DeMar DeRozan. This is supposed to fix everything. If this next step isn't one forward, then this is now probably on the coach. And again, they're another team that if they are around 500 at some point, then it could just be curtains for Mike Brown. I'm not saying it should. I just think the situation in Sacramento kind of stacks up in a way that he may find himself on the hot seat. At 2, it's Tyronn Lue out with the Los Angeles, Chargers. It's Clippers. It's basketball. I think he's an excellent coach. I think he's a very, very good basketball coach. I also think he is in kind of a no-win situation. The Clippers are going into a brand new building, and boy, howdy, do they want it to look impressive, and do they want to be able to go out there and really make some noise, which is why it is very strange they let Paul George go in free agency. But they did. And now we are already hearing about some Kawhi Leonard injury issues. And so it already feels like too much is going to fall on the shoulders of James Harden this year. And that typically hasn't gone great for coaches. And so with all of the pressure that is on the Clippers this year, and given that they are locked into Kawhi now for 4 more years and kind of locked into this roster, if there is a reason for panic with the Clippers, it will probably fall on the shoulders of Ty Lue, and Ballmer will just step right over him to the next guy. And at number 1, Billy Donovan out in Chicago. This was supposed to go better. They were also supposed to have Ball, who was supposed to help things out a little bit. But it has been awful for a few years now. And I do think that there has been a bit of a stay for Billy Donovan based off of the just horrendous roster construction that this team has had. But I do think this is going to be a very bad year for this team. And I do think at some point major changes are going to happen, and that's probably going to be in the coaching ranks as well. I don't see this season going well for this team, and I do think that they are going to try to reset it. I think that having Giddey as your primary ball guy just ain't going to work. I think, like, the league entirely is telling you what they think of Levine. Vucevic, I think is intriguing, but it's just none of the pieces really fit. And so I do think that before they really, not that I was going to say before they really blow it up. I think they're going to try to, but I do think that also it is going to be another coach who has to try to put all those pieces back together in Chicago.